What's up, everybody? Apex Widowmaker here, bringing you a quick video on the new Broken Arrow update called Everyone Fights. I'm pretty excited about this update because it's actually bringing in some new features that were um, long awaited. People were wanting the addition of the deserter penalties and also the surrender option have been added in this new patch, which is kind of big. Um, and then they also added some updates to the anti-cheat. They updated some models and then made some balance improvements, and then they switched around some units from certain specializations to others. So we're gonna just kind of jump right into it. I'm gonna try and keep this short for everybody, just to kind of save everybody some time. So the first thing, and also I'm a little sick right now, so if you guys hear that, I'm sorry. But the first thing is the surrender feature. So they did it in the style of like League of Legends, if anybody plays that. Basically, you need 4 votes out of the 5. It has to be a majority for the surrender to go through. It goes down, 3 to 4, or I'm sorry, 4 players to 3, 3 players to 2, 2 to 2, and then 1 player if you surrender. It's instant surrender, which makes sense. The next thing is the penalty for deserters. They finally added this, which should have been, probably in the game in the beginning, along with the surrender feature, but, you know, better late than never, I guess. So you can see here it's 2 minutes for the first leave, 5 for second, 15, 30, 60, up to 3 hours of penalty. Now, honestly, I would like for them to change the first two, I think, um, and just kind of make it to where it's actually 5 minutes, because 2 minutes penalty is like whatever, right? It doesn't really affect anybody. You just kind of sit and wait, and then you can just jump right in. So I think this should have been the 5 minutes, and then this one should be 15, so on and so forth. I would even do one where it's like maybe 24 hours for like severe, like if you count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe make a seventh or make the sixth like a 24-hour penalty. Basically, just take the day off. Like you should not be playing. If you leave 7 times in a row, just take the day off. Like don't even play that day. Sleep on it and come back the next day. But other than that, it's there. We'll see how it works out. Um, I don't think that this is really that it's not gonna affect that much, at least the first time. Um, now the other new features, right? You got this to me this is pretty big and interesting at the same time. So the laser designation. So now whenever you laser somebody, first you can do them behind an obstacle. So if you have vision of a tank and they're behind a building apparently, if I'm reading this right, you can laser them through the building and then it's going to remember that target. So if you lose sight of them, the laser is still going to be in that area, and then when they pop back up in vision, it's going to remember that target and it's going to automatically target that unit, which is which is pretty interesting. I want to see how this works out. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I don't like it, but we'll see how that affects the gameplay. I think it's going to make bombing runs, I don't want to say OP because that word gets tossed around a lot, but it's gonna make it more efficient, It's gonna make it better, and we'll see how that kind of changes the dynamic of everything. Um, they also added some new battle music in the final minute of each phase. I kind of like this, it's just gonna add sort of this sense of urgency for people. Um, because I see a lot of the times, like as the phase is ending, people just kind of chill and sit back, and they might not even realize, like, oh, we have 1 minute until the phase ends to capture this point that we need to get points and get us ahead. Um, so I do welcome this. I like that, and I'm interested to hear what that's going to sound like. Um, this right here, they improved some of the models, which is cool. It's whatever. Now this right here, this feature, the unloading of units. So if I'm not mistaken, I think this was already in the game. So I don't know. I have to try this out to see if there's a difference, but basically you can drag and drop when unloading units. So the position where you press the button is where the troops will be unloaded. So let's say you have, I don't know, a transport and they're on a main road, and you don't want them to drive up to a building off of the main road because it slows them down, and then the infantry unit is faster on the ground than, maybe the transport is, right? So you unload them at the street, and then you can drag and drop, right? Um, they get unloaded, and then the position where you release the click is where the unloaded troops will go after being unloaded. If this position is a building, they will automatically enter it. So basically, you drop somebody, you drag, and then click on the building, and then so the transport's gonna unload the units, and then the units will walk up to the building and enter. Um, but if I'm not mistaken, I feel like that was already in the game. Um, so we'll see if there's. I'm gonna test this out, and we'll see if there's a difference. And then you have this long list of fixes. Now you guys can go in here because there's a lot. The main one up here, this was the biggest one. They fixed the desktop crash, which is huge. And then the rest of it is just all these bugs, and it's a long list. So I'll let you guys go in this on your own time and kind of look at everything. All right, so now we're gonna get into balance. Um, and let's see what we got here. In parallel with technical work of the program team, our design team is working on gameplay improvements. So there are three levels of balance. The balance between factions, balance between specializations within a faction, and then the balance of units within specializations, right? So here it says the previous patch was aimed at the second and third level and successfully managed to rebalance the level interests of previously overplayed and underplayed battle groups. The U.S. Armored plus Special Forces battle group, which was far ahead of all other options, has lost popularity, right? And then the Russian Coastal Spec, which was rarely played, even though it was pretty powerful, has gained a lot of attention. And the Guard Tanks plus Coastal Battle Group, which was previously one of the least used combinations, and now one of the most used, right? So to them, this was a success, I guess. But this was a result. It's pretty interesting. So, um, pre-patch, I think it says it up here. The previous balance ratio between release of the zero point 0.9 was 51% in favor of Russia. Then, since the new update, it's actually gone up to 53.5 in favor of Russia. So it's actually even tilted even more. So before it was 49% USA, 51% Russia, and now the gap has been increased. Now, what's interesting is that at higher ELO, above 2000, it was very close to 50-50, which is interesting. So at lower ELO, you have this huge gap. Now, what they did was they switched around um, a lot of some of the damage to some of the tanks. This to me is probably my favorite thing because I use the Marines a lot. they moved the Pack 2 from armor to the USMC specialization, and then they also used the Pack 3 from striker to armored. So they were saying that I was reading this and it was saying that it was kind of redundant to have two of them in the same thing. And to me, this is very welcomed because I use Slam Rams and then now I can get a Pack 2 and the Slam Rams in my Marine spec, which is gonna, which I love, because I love my Slam Rams. They help out with cruise missile spam, and so now I have a Pack 2 to help out with anti-air. Um, so this right here also, they increased the M830 heat shell penetration from 400 to 600, so now the tanks are going to be even stronger for the US. Um, and then also for the M8 Thunderbolt and the SEP class of tanks has their damage increased from 9 to 10, which is going to be great. They added this little note here. The Abrams tanks experience significant difficulties in combat against light vehicles with ATGMs. Basically, if you had like 4 units with ATGMs, you could surround a tank and then they would just be destroyed um, like it wasn't even fair, you know what I mean? So now they did this to kind of help be able to take that on a little bit more without completely swinging it to one side, as it requires 3 shells to destroy them, losing in open combat. This change means that any vehicle with 16 HP and 200 armor or less to be destroyed in 2 hits by those shells instead of 3. So that should help out, right? Without breaking the balance. All right, so this other one, time to go back to the deck increase for units refunded with empty ammunition. So I think this is the one. Yeah. So people figured out that if you have a ballistic missile unit or cruise missile launchers, after you shoot, it would be better to just refund it, wait, and then send it back out instead of uh, reloading because it was more cost efficient that way. The time that it would take to reload plus the resources would cost more, and so if you spawn in a ballistic or cruise missile launcher close to your spawn, you use it and then refund it, you know, it would be more efficient. And so they changed it to where um, basically it's not efficient anymore to do that. So I really like this change. Um, what else? Let's see. Viper rockets loadout changed. Um, yeah, so they changed the Hydras, the pods here. They also changed some of the points, right? All right, so now we're gonna get into um, some of the mixing, right? So they moved the Guardian from Special Forces to Airborne. The DAP, my beloved DAP. I rarely use this, but now I'm definitely going to be using it more. It received the option to carry Hellfires or Dagger on the outer pylons, which is awesome. The Guardian Hydropods option replaced by 8 Dagger, which is cool. The Apache and Longbow rocket pods replaced by 7. I don't know if I like this. This actually went down. Um, and then the Apache asymmetric loadout added with 4 Hellfire missiles and a fuel tank. Which this is confusing me because I don't think they had a fuel tank, right? Like, I don't remember them having fuel. Okay, so on to the next thing. They increased also with the DAP the capacity from 6 to 8, which is awesome. I really, really love that because one of the reasons why I didn't really want to use the DAP was because, for one, the capacity to transport people, like you can only carry so much, because it only had 6. So now you can carry more, right? The other one, Blackhawk, infantry capacity increased from 12 to 13, which means that now they can carry Marines. Before the Marines would only be able to be transported in I think it was the ACVP, right? Because that was like the only transport that had the capacity for 13 besides the AVP. But now you get the Blackhawk, which is going to be great because now you can spawn a Blackhawk and then take in uh, um, a unit of Marines. And like imagine having like 4 Blackhawks, each with Marines in them, and then you just fly them into a point. That's going to be awesome, like at the start of the game or something, right? Because these guys are actually tanky, the Marines. Then here's the other one, the Silent Hawk. Capacity increased from 12 to 14. So this is going to be good with the Marine Raiders, because now you can put Marine Raiders into a Silent Hawk and then take those guys in. That's going to be crazy. So having the mix of Marine and Special Forces is probably going to go up. Like that specialization combo is probably going to be increased. Now, Venom infantry capacity increased from 8 to 9. Price increased 65 to 70. ISV infantry increased from 8 to 9. Now they're making these changes because down here, if you notice, airborne squad size increased from 8 to 9 men. Basically, because they increased the airborne unit by 1, they had to increase the capacities to these by 1 also. Then you have the MTV truck, the MTVR, their capacity got increased as well. And so did kind of the cost, which is fine. It's not that much. It's not going to break the bank. You just need to adjust some stuff here and there. And then naturally, because of this being 9, the price increase went up to 75. Now the weapon squad also increased from 8 to 9 men. So these guys are going to get a little bit stronger. They cost a lot, and that's why I don't use them. But now with 9 men, and then they did not increase the cost, I think makes it a little bit more efficient. So down here it says these new values reinforce the interoperability of specializations. For instance, the Blackhawk can carry a squad of Marines. The ISV and the Venom can carry a squad of Rangers or Troopers, which is huge because now transport helicopters are going to be even better, right? Ranger Standoff configuration rifle changed from the M4A1 Mod 2 to the M4A1, and then the damage was increased, it looks like. Um, I think this one, the difference between these two is that this one is longer range, is what it is. This unit suffers from a redundancy with airborne squads, which it did, and other special forces units in combination with more transport compatibility. This change should make them more appealing. And you know what? I think so as well. Now, the next stuff here is for the Russian faction. You got the Sturm S reload time increased from 5 to 6, the Cornet, and the Chrysanthema reload. I hope I did not say that right. I doubt it. Reload time increased from 5 to 8. The missile launchers can reload while guiding their missiles since they are not wire guided. This ability combined with a fast reload speed made that the next missile was sometimes ready to fire before the impact of the previous. Increase the reload time creates an opening that can be exploited to engage them with guns, which is cool, right? And I say that because I play US faction mostly, not Russia, so, attack of missiles fired on the move from vehicles, aim time increased by 1 second. And this affects the Terminator, Barbarous, and the BRM-3K. On the designer's note, missiles aim time is low to compensate for the need to stop and the flight time that is higher than a shell. In their case, there is no need to stop, so the reduced aim time is less justified. They must still maintain a direct line of sight, so the aim time remains inferior to a javelin. Alright, so then we get into the BMPs, optional additional smoke removed, and then the jammer upgrade. they changed the price, right? And then they also removed the smoke. Now the reason is down here the presence of a double smoke on top of the jammer and the 400 millimeter heat armor makes the BMP too resilient for its price. Instead of increasing the price, we have removed the double smoke, so that's cool. I'm sure the Russian faction is not going to like this, but hey, as you saw earlier, it was like 54% to 46% win ratio, so this is going to help with closing that gap. Um, Over here, you get into the new models, right? They changed the models, which is okay, whatever. The BMD up armored version have increased heat protection. These are the values. HP increase, and then the price increase. The Coronet front armor increased from 60 to 80, and they also added the price here. New armor customization for 10 points. The Sheridan received an additional smoke charge. The Sprint received an additional smoke charge. This is gonna make me want to kind of try out the Sheridan. These two vehicles with low resilience are rather underperforming, and they really were. The Sprint will suffer from the Abrams heat shell buff, so a second smoke will help them survive longer. So I like that. The Flyer GMV. Resilience increased from 8 to 10 hit points. I really like that. It's going to make people use them more. M230 upgrade price reduced from 15 to 10. I welcome this. This should make it an interesting alternative to the faster RSOV. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably gonna make me want to play this now over this, right? BMP2 without Conquerors for 50 points. Okay, Striker, cluster rounds, customization added, and then the accuracy was also increased. So the reason designers note the low damage and blast radius of the 105 millimeter round makes it pretty bad. More accuracy can compensate for that, and I agree. This one's cool. So M985 battleship truck armor increased to match up armored hemp. Um, oh, was that? That's not the one that I was thinking about. I think they also changed the later in the notes the not the battleship but the war pig is what I'm thinking about. Fixed vehicles missing the laser range increase announced. Okay, whatever. Hawkeye smoke rounds added. LAV loadout changed from 6633 to 5050. Okay, Dragonfire gets 3 more high explosive shells and 3 less smoke. And then the Devon Mortar, they also changed, as you can see here. Now, the reason why right here, small caliber mortars are not very popular because of their low damage, but are perfect to lay smoke barrages. So we have reinforced this aspect. Striker specializations, 250 points transfer from support category to infantry, which is fine. Alright, next thing, increase all 7.62 miniguns, range 700 meters, and then the damage to 0.9, and then the area of effect is removed. They were configured to do not so much damage compared to machine guns, but with an area of effect. This was unclear for the players, and the UI was displaying the damage as cluster. As a rule of thumb, consider that a minigun has the power of 2 machine guns. Okay, the TOS1 resupply time increased. 1A resupply time increased. As you can see here, you can also read the little note down here on why. The F-15EX option to carry AGM-88 HARM missiles on the outer pylons have been added, which is going to be awesome for AA. And then also the centerline weaponry merged into a single custom category. The 27ER and AIM-7 Sparrow can now be guided to on the same target and are fired in quicker succession. Cool. SU-33 ECM upgrade price reduced from 50 to 40. That's fine. SU-27SM option to carry 4 under the fuselage added. What else? Let's see. There's a lot of good changes here. Um, Oh, here we go. This is the other thing. Air-to-ground anti-tank missiles, the Maverick, KH 2538, and the Vickers, large margin angle reduced, and missiles seeker angle reduced. So this is the reason why. The launch margin angle is the angle at which the missile can be launched compared to the axis of the plane. The seeker angle is used to require a new target if the original target is lost. As a result, these missiles will be fired at targets located closer to the indicated strafe area. So it used to be when you would strafe, you would have, let's say, like a unit close to, we'll say, the A-10, and it would fire a Maverick at a unit that's like farther away instead of firing at the one that was closer. So hopefully that fixes that. I accidentally clicked out. Let's see. Availability. The F-35 availability reduced from 4 to 2. Um, and then the Comanche is more easily spotted when firing Hellfires. So that's pretty much the updates. Much of which are welcomed, and I look forward to playing. I'm about to hop in and go mess around with the deck building. I'm gonna hop in on stream. You can catch me at Apex Widowmaker on Twitch, and you can also catch my channel on Rumble as well. So I'll see you guys out on the battlefield. Have a good one.